While Disney's Pixar animation studio may have achieved a stunning box office success with the release of Inside Out 2, there are still those skeptical of whether or not the once legendary animated powerhouse has truly regained its cinematic prowess by creating new original films not connected with stories originally conceived during the John Lasseter era. Unfortunately for Disney, Pixar's latest attempt to bring entirely new stories to life might cost them much more than they originally bargained for. Let's talk about Pixar allegedly spending over $300 million on their latest original offering in Elio, and how the already troubled production might just be one of the most expensive animated films of all time here on That Park Plays.
The upcoming Pixar film Elio. The budget has reportedly skyrocketed toward $300 million as Pixar scrambles to finish the troubled production. Now, how does an animated film get to cost $300 million? Well, when you have to completely remake it, that's usually one of the things that, can drive that budget up. So Pixar's next big release, Elio, is shaping up to be one of the most expensive animated films ever made, with sources now estimating its production cost at nearly $300 million before marketing. That eye-watering figure puts the Elio budget in the same cost bracket as major live-action blockbusters and far beyond what's typical for an animated feature even by Pixar standards. Now, the average cost of producing a high-end Pixar film typically falls between $150 and $200 million. Now, that includes films like Inside Out, Toy Story 4, Elemental, and competitors like Illumination and DreamWorks often somehow miraculously can get the job done for under $130 million. I don't know how they do it, guys. They must have some secret sauce that only they know, that Disney can only dream of. But only Tangled, released in 2010 after years of restarts and rewrites, comes close to Elio's price tag at a reported $260 million. Now, Elio may claim the top spot as the most expensive animated movie ever made, at least for Pixar, far and away. And the final bill isn't even in yet, with marketing likely to cost another $100 million globally. The total financial outlay could rise well beyond $400 million, putting enormous pressure on Elio to perform. Industry estimates suggest the film would then need to gross at least $700 to $800 million worldwide just to break even, which is a tough task for an original IP with no franchise backing. Guys, typically for movies like this, you're probably looking at a 500 to 600 million box office if you're lucky, right?
Especially when you have something that no one knows what it is. It's a new IP.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that with an original film like this, you really want to be closer. If you're going to like 150 million to 200 million typical animation features like this, you really want to stick close to that 150 million, so that you're roughly looking at 3 times that take right there at the theater, $600 million. That sounds about right. But now you're looking at what? Very close to $1 billion just to break even on this film. That's how much money we're talking here, folks. I mean, it's an astounding figure, and especially with something original, I really don't see how they can make this back unless it's one that is just completely knocks the doors off of everybody, and the word of mouth is absolutely exceptional. This cinema score, I think, is going to be absolutely crucial for this.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did this happen? Multiple sources have told World of Real that Elio became a source of stress for Pixar chief Pete Docter, who reportedly pushed for large-scale rewrites after concerns were raised about the film's tone and direction. Trailers that were released in 2023 and 2025 paint very different pictures. Now, early footage presented a more somber sci-fi tone, highlighting an emotional distance between Elio and his working mother, who was at that time, originally portrayed by America Ferrara and is now Zoe Saldana. The latest trailer, however, pivots to a comedic space adventure with character roles completely swapped and a much brighter aesthetic. Now, America Ferrara left due to, scheduling issues, much like the original director, who left also for some, quote unquote scheduling issues. So director Adrian Molina was quietly replaced in 2024 under the guise of a quote scheduling conflict, which is a phrase that no one in the industry takes at face value. Though he still holds a co-directing credit, the film is now being steered by Domi Shi from Turning Red and Madeline Sharafian. I'm hoping I said that correctly. If not, then I face incredible dishonor. But the point here, guys, I kind of wonder, like with Bob Chapek, like when you are an executive or a director or a creative, how much do you have to tick somebody at these studios off to be like, they were fired?
Apparently, all you have to do is espouse the wrong political views, or maybe look like you might be espousing the wrong political views on social media. Because whatever it was that Zegler was saying was fine, but others not so much. I think with Molina, The thing at Pixar is from day one they were willing to rework and rework and rework things until it became the most perfect movie. From a legendary standpoint, Toy Story had a cynical Woody at the start of it that Jeffrey Katzenberg was pushing them in a different direction, and then eventually became the lovable Tom Hanks, who goes through a little bit of a dark arc in the middle of the movie, but then becomes the guy that you like. That story trust that's over there at Pixar, or I guess it's the brain trust over there. It's a story group at Disney Animation. They're supposed to be able to look at something and try to hone it into the most potent form of the movie. But with this, I think they were finally reactivating that thing, and they just decided that I guess Adrian Molina doesn't have the sauce. He was the co-director on Coco, and now he's the co-director on Coco 2. So either they decided they couldn't do a Coco 2 without him, and then they were going to reshoot the film that he was the head of, or maybe, just maybe, I'm suspicious that Disney decided to recast Adrian Molina, not recrew, because directors are technically crew. I think they cast Adrian Molina in the role of co-director of Coco 1 because it was actually probably directed by Lee Unkrich, otherwise known as the director of Toy Story 3, also a member of that original brain trust there at Pixar. There's some sorry to go deep in the Pixar lore here, but I think it just wasn't working out, and they went to the most competent director they could find and say, just whatever, just keep the IP attached. We've already got the dolls coming from China on a year and a half pre-order here, so please just make this something that you can sell little alien dolls to little girls in the United States.
To remark on the toy. Okay.
Go ahead, Vash.
To remark on the Toy Story comparison as well, Jonas, you'll remember that the reason why it had that tone to begin with was because apparently they got a bunch of notes back from Disney themselves as to like how the film should go and, you know, what they wanted to see from the story and so forth. And then in Toy Story 2, this following obviously a Bug's Life, it was another studio that was originally handling that, and then Pixar took the reins back and then reworked it again. So you can say in those instances, oh, well, there were other factors at play here. This here was really a failing within Pixar. And you could, I mean, maybe it's like, okay, the brain trust is so good that this thing will actually materialize and be really, really awesome for audiences. But I'm just not so sure, especially considering the track record of recent Pixar productions. Go ahead, Marvin.
Now, when you're at a point though where you have to make up to $800 million on an untested animated IP, brand new, that maybe up to that point you had spent 150 million on it, you know, before you had to rework it completely, that was going to balloon the budget. At what point does somebody in the creative background say, guys, if we just take a tax break on this and cancel it, we'll maybe eat, you know, $50 million loss or something like that, depending on what the tax break gives you, or we continue to go forward to this and we lose potentially $200 to $300 million. Is that a prestige thing at that point, you think, or
is it sunk cost? You know, is it the, well, we're already this far in, we really don't want this to absolutely bomb if we don't get this right. Do we apply more money to it? I really don't know. I mean, it's a difficult position to be in, especially when you're in the creative realm and all of that. At a certain point though, you just got to go, it's just too much money. We have to, you know, this is what it is. Go ahead.
They've essentially made this movie twice. This had a teaser trailer and it was supposed to come out right after Inside Out 2. It literally said this movie is coming, and I think it was June after Inside Out 2 came out earlier that year. And Inside Out 2, not that good of a movie. I understand there are people who enjoy that movie, but there is nothing about that other than it being a sequel, and I would put it on the level of Cars 2. I'll put it there, except that Cars 2 is actually funny at times because Mater is lovable, and I have a heart, and I will admit that Mater makes me chuckle. Do not eat the pistachio ice cream. Now, Inside Out 2, though, does not work if you have not seen Inside Out, and none of the characters act like they do in the original Inside Out. With this, I think this movie was done and they just literally decided this stinks, let's make a new movie using the existing assets that they had there. So they took what was there and said, well, reformat it into something else. 300 million on an animated picture is insane. This is not Avengers Doomsday. This is not them bringing back Robert Downey Jr. This is not them bringing back John Lasseter, Tom Hanks, Tim Allen. I'm struggling to think of anybody from Pixar that's successful right now other than that. This is a completely untested movie IP starring Zoe Saldana, which, by the way, it sounds like they kicked America Ferrera out for whatever she was playing in the original version. So
right. The mom or the aunt or whatever it's going to actually end up being. No, you're 100% right. It is. We were saying that Disney was wildly irresponsible for letting the Captain America Brave New World budget get to around 300 to 350 million. But that is a live action blockbuster, in an established universe that has grossed billions of dollars. Now
it's got Harrison Ford in it as well. It's got a bona fide movie star in it. And so 300 million on a movie that actually contains people that are a box office draw. Okay, sure. But a completely untested IP? No, this is Valerian in the Planet of 1,000 Cities or whatever kind of money that we're talking about here. This is something where, it's a story about a little boy who's kind of weird.
Well, okay. and you know what? And yes, Zoe Saldana is in the highest grossing movie of all time, Avatar, but nobody knows that she's in it. Like, nobody knows that Zoe Saldana is the girl, is the blue lady from Avatar. Nobody even knows the character's name. So,
yeah. And Zoe Saldana's face doesn't appear in any of the movies that she's in, including, as Gamora. Well, there's a green version of that. Oh, right. She's also in Amelia Perez. So, let's... She's not the ticket that people are paying to see, although she could be if she got out in front and got some great scripts. I don't know. This is a company that seems allergic to making money, but man, they think the cure is spending money.
Well, I was looking at I was looking at the history of this because I kind of wanted to see how relatively speaking, how high do these animation productions go? And I knew they were a lot, obviously, and I knew a lot of the history surrounding it. Apparently, though, from my at least initial research, it's saying Tangled at $260 million. But I remember Tangled specifically, that was in development for like 20 years. Like, they were going back and forth with story concepts and ideas. I remember Glenn Keane was originally directing it at that time. And then they brought in Nathan Greno and Byron Howard in order to rescue that film there in the last 3 years or so. And that's why that film was so expensive, because it was just a culmination of all these costs over this in a long period. And obviously there's interest involved and everything else. So it's like, okay, I can kind of see that, kind of understand that. I don't think there's really an excuse here, especially when the company is so strapped for cash with all of its other entertainment and theme park projects.
Well, that was also a big technological change for the company as well. That was the reformat. And by the way, Tangled better than Frozen. Just going to point that out because it always needs to be pointed out.
Yep.
Well, I remember going to Walt Disney World in like 2000 and I don't know if it was when I went in 2003, maybe. I saw in the animation courtyard, they used to have posters up for all of the animated features. And one of them was Rapunzel. It was just called Rapunzel back then. And we were seeing it as far back then. That movie was in development for a long, long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was called Rapunzel for the longest time up until, ironically, Princess and the Frog was released. And a lot of Disney executives thought that the word princess being the title was the reason why that flopped. So Rapunzel became Tangled and Ice Queen became Frozen.
Well, to wrap this up, I think that it's obvious that Disney could not come up with a better name to market this to everyone. They'll know exactly the kind of movie they're watching when they see Elio.
Frozen pizza. Man, it was summertime in the 90s when you got Elio's pizza, you knew it was going to be a good night.
Is that really a frozen pizza brand? I did not know that.
It is. It is a frozen pizza brand. At least in the Northeast, it was. Elio's Pizza. You never heard of that?
No, I did not.
It was basically like the pizza they would sell at like the baseball fields and stuff too when you play Little League.
There you go. It sounds like, they might as well call it Hungry Howie's then.
I don't know. Chat, let Jonas know if you know what Elio's Pizza is, because man, just the name brings back memories to me. Elio's Pizza and a Flintstones push pop was a great day in the Montenaro household in the summer months.
Dude.
With some Slimer Ecto Cooler.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.